I was a union iron worker with local Ironworkers Local 361, and I was also participating in that what I call disaster turned epidemic, because I'm certified by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation in wildland search and rescue. We did not get there till the morning of September 12th. We were told that even though we offered to go in immediately and they needed iron workers desperately, the City of New York Department of Engineering and their specialists had not validated or verified the structural integrity of all the bridges and tunnels going in and out of New York City. The city department would notify the company we were working for, which was Kiska Developers, as soon as a route was made available for us. We came in through the Battery Tunnel, so we're right on West Street. West Street goes right straight to across town to the Trade Center site. The first thing we did as iron workers and the laborers and painters who were with us, once we came out of the tunnel, some of us got down on the sidewalk and said a prayer, because some of us had never been in a disaster that was apparently an act of war, all warlike in nature. The devastation, the smell, I can still hear the sirens going off. The jets, the fighter jets, flying their sorties, that echoing through the towers of the booming of their turbine engines. And then on top of all of this, you hear sirens constantly, all kinds of emergency whistles. The only thing I can tell you that myself and others that I spoke to had in our minds was, if it was us or a family member or a friend or just anybody being stuck in that pile, they're not going to last long with these little fires going on here and there, and these fire hoses soaking the area. They could wind up drowning. They could wind up burning. You could have a further collapse. Another building could come down. So all you had in your mind was addressing that immediate spot you're at and removing the debris. As the search and rescue effort turned from search and rescue to a recovery effort, I thank operating engineers for providing the proper breathing apparatus instead of the paper and fiber particle masks that we were given. These paper and particle masks were made out of fiber, and with all the steam and smoke and everything else coming off the debris, the heat was immense in some locations, especially if you were downwind of this disaster. So when you're trying to breathe and you're breathing in amongst this type of environment, what comes out of your mouth but perspiration? And the perspiration doesn't take long before it saturates this type of a fiber or particle mask. Once it becomes damp from your exhalation, from this perspiration. There was so much particulate matter floating around that it would stick to the damp or wet surface. So you have all of this emissions coming at you, and it stuck to your mask, and it wasn't long before it was a weight and you couldn't breathe out of it. So most of the people would take these things off. I can prove for sure that I was there the first 4 days because I was given, as a grace of Kiska developers, $100 stipend out of the kindness of their heart, a payment for being there each day that I was there. And I was there with receiving this stipend until Friday. After that, me, Dave, and a couple other fellas, as we would continually go in all through the weekend, you're supposed to sign up with one of the contractors. We filled out the forms. We weren't there to get paid. We weren't interested in making a buck on this. We were interested in trying to help save lives. I don't think there were many people there, unless you had some kind of malintent, that were there out for your own welfare even. I have recollection of being there 29 to 32 days, and that was starting on the morning of the 12th. I also want to say that I am nothing special, but you can hear in my voice that I have a breathing problem. I have been listed as having a 37% breathing loss through Mount Sinai with the ingestions that I made at the World Trade Center site. I was a long-distance runner in school. I have excelled in track, wrestling. I could play football. I was a gymnast. You had to have longevity, and longevity is received through having proper lung capacity. I never had a pulmonological problem prior to 9/11. I have mentioned it before, and I guess I would like to have it known that I suffer from PTSD. And I became abrasive to my children. And I became verbally aggressive towards my wife. I pushed them out of my life. So I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good husband. I wasn't a good family member. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed, because I went to the State of the Union address after this, and the only thing that ex-president of ours, George Bush, was kind enough to mention at the State of the Union address was the reason why we were in Baghdad was because of the attack and devastation of the World Trade Center site. So he did not ever allude to this being the act of war, but it was, because they claimed that, our government claimed that that was an act of war. Then let my and everybody else's experience of what we went through down there, let that account for how we address further terrorist attacks or further man-made or natural disasters in this country. I don't believe in waste. I waste nothing. And the biggest thing I hate seeing wasted is human life.